We have been in this business for a while.
Yeah.
The truth is, when you call out corrupt politicians, they will lie against you. The first and easy lie is they will say you collected money. The second lie is the political lie. So we are not surprised that the representative of the minister had to make such an allegation. Anyway, Mr. Mojeed and his team will go ahead and defend themselves in court. But I also saw the spokesperson of the minister struggle so much because, you see, like my very dear friend and great brother, Minister Wiki, will say, if he didn't day, he didn't day. Oji, look at that certificate. Look at that
right
NY
there on
certificate.
the wall, we can see.
Do you know
that
there's a document that came out? Apart from the fact that the investigation did not start today.
No, they
started with People's Gazette.
Yes.
And what they are claiming, the minister is claiming that the document they gave People's Gazette from the school, the registrar, they said, that I went to the school. They have debunked that document because the registrar now has said that does not exist. And me, I know the backstory of what transpired. I've heard what transpired. Secondly, look at that document. There's a document that came out recently, Oji, where the school wrote the minister a letter in 1985 saying that you didn't pass your final exam, virology, MCB 4 something. And there's also a written letter by the minister as a student, then Jeffrey Nnaji, saying that I will take that exam in June 1986. Those documents are in public glare. Premium Time also posted them, although they didn't give credit to the source that brought out those documents. So, Oji, does it make sense?
I want to ask you, Rufai, since you followed this story, do you recall that I believe that there's an affidavit that he had submitted back in December 2023, I believe that he had claimed that he never received any certificate from Nsukka.
Yes, he's also in the Premium Time reporting, but they are trying to deny that. He's also what his team came to do yesterday was just to say they should give us our transcripts, secondly, and then to hold on to that initial response the registrar gave People's Gazette, which has been debunked as a lie now. Oji, how can a man that said that in May 1986, in June 1986, was going to write his final supplementary exam, virology, MCB something, now graduates from NYC in that 1986 May, before the June he was supposed to write the exam? That document is out there in public glare. So kudos to both People's Gazettes and what's it called that did the job. So I'm not surprised that they are and Premium Times, that they are mudslinging Premium Times. Is what we get for doing our job, and that's the height of journalism. But like everybody has said on the panel, the case must be taken to court.
Yes, I believe so too.
The case must be tried out in court. The fact that somebody has resigned should not be pardoned.
This is it. This is the main point. I mean, the fact that he also resigned, I think, is showing some sort of accountability, and he's saying that he doesn't want any sort of disturbance. But we need to follow up on this case, and we will follow up on the story. This is the second minister that we are hearing now in this cabinet that was not screened properly. Well, in another development, the requests by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for the House of Representatives to approve a plan to borrow $2.35 billion in external capital to finance part of the 2025 budget deficit and refinance Nigeria's maturing Eurobond has been met with reactions. The borrowing plan includes $1.23 billion provided in the 2023 Appropriation Act to part finance the budget deficit and another $1.12 billion to refinance a Eurobond maturing on November 21st. This latest request comes just months after the last major external borrowing approval on July 23, 2025, when lawmakers authorized a $21.5 billion plan to fund shortfalls, infrastructure, and key sectors. Well, according to Debt Management Office data, as of September 2025, actual disbursements total over $10 billion. I mean, this is incredible. Tinubu is saying that, the funds will be raised through Eurobonds, loans, syndications, or even bridge financing. But this has garnered a lot of reactions, and I'll take some posts on X. This is from Ade Banjo, who wrote on X, "So Nigeria's solution to the 2025 budget deficit is more debt, $2.35 billion foreign loan plus $500 million sovereign sukuk, because apparently borrowing has become a national pastime. When will we start fixing revenue and cutting waste instead of mortgaging our future?" Another ex-user, Pump, wrote, "These loans fund deficits and infrastructure repaid by future tax revenues. Current and future generations bear the burden, risking economic strain if mismanaged, as seen in Nigeria's rising debt, 45.98 billion, unless productivity and governance improve." And that's the main point. We need to be a more productive economy. Like we always say, borrowing, there's nothing wrong with borrowing, but what are we using the money to fund? Ayo, before I come to you, I'd like to tie in the story together. Meanwhile, in the United Kingdom, the government is facing fierce criticism after reportedly spending £532,000 to rebrand its government's website logo, a change that simply moved a dot up and altered one color. British commentator Rob Moore sparked outrage on social media, describing the expenditure as a disgrace, noting the money could have paid for 15 nurses' salaries for an entire year. He wrote on X, if you can pull up Rob Moore's post on X, and he wrote in part, "The UK is falling apart. We are taxed to oblivion, and $500,000 is wasted on this. This is 15 nurses' salaries for an entire year for a job AI could have done in 30 seconds for free. Your taxes are being squandered in front of your eyes. A disgrace." Isn't this a disgrace, Ayo? Can you see if we can pull up that picture so our viewers can see? Can you see the difference in the logo? Just to move that dot up, you see the dot was below and now it's up. I mean, what really is going on here? What is the amount I just quoted? 532, I believe 35. I mean, these are the controversies. Yeah. And we know that the UK is facing economic hardship as well. I'd like for you to tie both stories in together, and I'll come to you, Ayo.
All right, thank you very much. So you see that whether it be Nigeria or the United Kingdom, right, we have issues around government accountability. Yeah. I think the difference might be that in the UK, where you've seen someone has raised this and actually challenged the government, I'm not sure there's an official position yet from the government in response to this. If you look at this, it's ridiculous, if you look at the changes that have happened and the amount of money that was spent to do that. They can justify it and say, oh, how can you put money on art or creativity or the process that came about? But when you look at it, especially with regards to what the UK is facing in terms of revenue shortage, then you can understand the grasp of the people. But let me come back home to Nigeria and the borrowing spree as we were by the president. Now, as you rightly said, Oji, we've often talked about the fact that the issue is not borrowing, but what the money is being spent on. Let's put the facts on ground. The reality on ground is that there's a revenue shortage by this administration. And in order to fund that shortage for the budget, which, by the way, we have 3 budgets running concurrently. We have the 2024 budget, we have the 2024 supplementary budget, and we have the 2025 budget running concurrently. We've often talked about budget performance and how much money is actually, or what percentage of budget, allocated or money is allocated to ministries are actually spent, and it's not near enough. And so what he's saying is that they want to pay off Eurobond, which matures in a few months, and then also for budget deficits as well. What we've asked for consistently, number one, is this: he's gone to the National Assembly, proper oversight. We've often criticized the process, especially in which way they approve budget or supplementary budget or borrowing requests by the president without due diligence being followed. The second part of it is a transparency in what the monies borrowed is actually used for, and to move away from recurrent revenue to focus more on capital projects, infrastructure that Nigeria can actually see and the people benefit and contribute to the GDP and productivity of Nigeria. This is where we ask for the National Assembly to do its functions, oversight functions, and ensure that the amount of money that is being borrowed is actually used. Now, I think it's also a good time, Oji, to actually look back at the borrowings that have happened. Recall the one that was done for, to go towards conditional transfer, to help with the safety nets following the reforms of this administration. Can we have a probe into how that money was spent? Because it was borrowed. If we are borrowing huge sums of money, then we need to ensure that it is being spent judiciously and not used for white elephant projects. And that's why the UK incident then comes to bear as to what do we use the money that is being spent for. Borrowing is not the big issue. Countries around the world, whether the United States of America, France, countries in Europe, borrow to fund deficits. What is very important is, number one, oversight to ensure that the amount or the money that has been borrowed is used for what it has been, what it has been allocated for, and that at the end of the day, we do not mortgage our future to pay back loans that was used for frivolous activities. And so I'm hoping that the National Assembly will do their due diligence, and that the President will be transparent in terms of the spending of the money, in terms of how much loan is being spent.
Well said. Let's now take this heartbreaking story of a Nigerian army officer, Lieutenant Samson Haruna, who tragically lost his life after his wife allegedly set him on fire following a domestic dispute in Akwa Ibom State. The tragic incident was said to have occurred on September 22nd, just 5 months after the couple got married on April 21st, 2025. Well, according to reports, Lieutenant Haruna and his wife Reti had a heated argument in their home, which escalated when she allegedly got petrol out of anger, doused it on him, and set him ablaze. The army officer was rushed to the University of Uyo Teaching Hospital, where he was receiving treatment for severe burns, but tragically passed away from his injuries. Social media has been awash with reactions after a video of their wedding began circulating online. Well, this incident has shocked the military community and raised serious questions about domestic violence and anger management. In a statement from the Assistant Director of the Army Public Relations Officer, Lawal Mohammed Unuyo, on Tuesday, the Army condemned Lieutenant Haruna's death and extended their condolences to his family. They stated that their preliminary investigation found that the incident took place after the heated argument between the couple due to a family crisis. The police are also investigating the circumstances surrounding his death, with the wife likely to face murder charges. Now, Dr. Bati, to think that the couple had been married barely 5 months before this tragic incident. Now, the military officer's life has been cut short, his career over. I mean, what does this say? This is really, really sad. May his soul rest in peace.
Well, this is very sad. It's horrific. It is sorrowful that a couple who were smiling in April now ended up in tragedy, in tragic circumstances in September. And it is all the more tragic because this happens in many places, domestic violence, which has become a major problem in our society. Some states have agencies to address domestic violence. Some states do not have, but it is a serious problem. Now, nobody teaches marriage or marital relationships in any of our schools. It's not on the curriculum. And so society has something that people are not prepared for. People marry, they get into disagreements. They are coming from different backgrounds. Nobody has taught them how to navigate this. I think, this should be a wake-up call for society to look at issues of conflict management, also issues of marital abuse, also issues of mental health, because somewhere lurking in that territory is mental health. There is also a rule here for families, for churches that, you know, tie the knot for people to come together. You know, oftentimes people just come together coming from different backgrounds. You know, they spend a lot of money getting married, but what level of counseling have they received, particularly in terms of the mental health of the parties involved? Yeah. Now, there's also an issue about androcide, and I think that, you know, it's very important that you are bringing this up. Oftentimes, if it was a man that attacked a woman, it would be a big issue. They will say, oh, femicide, marital abuse, domestic violence. Men are always like that. We have also seen in this country cases of women who are violent wives, who beat up their husbands, who kill their husbands, and I think on both sides, that should not be the case.
Yes.
And I think that society should put a structure in place to look into this. Now, the other issue is that this Mrs. Aruna, who has killed her husband, there's nothing under the, the marital act, that says a woman can kill her husband. She must be made to face the full wrath of the law.
Absolutely.
Justice must be done.
All right.
And I've seen people say, how can a lieutenant allow his wife to pour petrol on him and kill him?
How is it just?
He may just be a very decent man, and whatever the argument may be, there's no justification for him to have been killed.
We commiserate with the Haruna family. We commiserate with the military. May justice be served. I hope that this investigation is speedy. May his soul rest in peace. Lieutenant Haruna, we commiserate with your family. Well, let's now take this story from Enugu State, where a mother is crying out after a teacher at Nursery and Primary School in Abakwa, Nike, allegedly flogged her 3-year-old daughter, leaving visible marks on the child's body. A video showing the injuries she sustained has sparked outrage on social media. Let's take a look.
I want to show you people. My baby's wound. Are you people seeing this? Are you people seeing this? I was in my house now. Somebody called me on phone. Same number around my child in our school. Now one of the teachers from Nursery and Primary School flogged my child to the point that my child is no longer walking. I want to show you people my baby's wound. I want to show you people my baby's wound. I want to show you people my baby's wound. Are you people seeing this? Are you people seeing this? Una a teacher. Una a teacher. A teacher. This to my child. I will not. And the teachers are finding it difficult to bring up my child. Hold this up for me.
This is horrific. The school is yet to respond to the allegations. I also reached out to the Enugu State government. He said that the Commissioner for Education there is also going to look into this matter, but we're calling on the Ministry of Education as well. Visible marks on a 3-year-old child. This raises questions about corporal punishment in schools as well. What's going on, Ayo?
I know how you feel about corporal punishment. You always talk about it on the show. It is really sad. And we're saying to Dr. Batsey off air that the woman was even very calm. I mean, and I'm glad that she exercised restraint, because we've seen situations where the parents actually go and physically assault the teacher. I think the best thing to do now is to review our education system, especially these mushroom private schools that are under-regulated or not even regulated at all in the way that they operate. What on earth could a 3-year-old have done to deserve this kind of corporal punishment? So what I'm hoping is that we can look into these schools and their operations, and some of them actually need to be closed down. They have no business running. And even look at what is the 3-year-old going to learn in school that they are beating her like this.
What is the problem?